When YouTube started sharing ad revenue with its creators, we naturally began seeing our first career YouTubers, and in what felt like overnight, we began to see the rise of the YouTube millionaire. It wasn't long before hundreds of thousands of views became chump change, and 1 million views became the standard for success. In the 2010s, YouTube became a space mostly dominated by algorithm-heavy channels that focused on a high volume of videos that were, at least individually, low effort. Let's Players, drama commentators, and amateur quote-unquote news were the most profitable and most common. Ad revenue came from ads, which came from views, which came from gaming the algorithm. So that's what the major faces of the site did. Then there was the adpocalypse. Mass demonetizations and dropping ad revenue rates that only got worse made ad revenue less reliable. Incentives to be completely algorithmic were dwindling. YouTubers who uploaded on a daily basis found that their grueling efforts to upload so frequently were resulting in little or no profit, and many of these smaller, less established Let's Players transitioned to streaming instead, where random Joes seemingly throw $5 at you just to say hello. Seemingly in response to the quote-unquote adpocalypse, more and more creators have been using Patreon to support themselves, and almost as if in response to this major Patreon kick, YouTube has established their own in-house membership program that is just a click away, and this shift from ad revenue to patronage-driven revenue has caused an interesting resurgence of small channels. At least on my feed. The era of a new YouTube millionaire being born every week may be over, but we are in a sort of golden age of small channels that are seeing small levels of success. You can make a humble living on YouTube, or at the very least some supplemental income, while getting less than 100,000 views per video, so long as enough of those viewers send a few dollars your way. And once a small YouTube channel establishes a loyal base of patronage, they're free to be deeply creator-driven. Their creative decisions and touches chosen from the heart and what their core audience enjoys, rather than what's algorithmically best. Perhaps it's because of this that YouTube in recent years has been pushing to give small channels a chance, or at least that's the impression I get from the sorts of channels appearing in my homepage and in my search queries. The recent hype feature they've been testing is pointedly made with small channels in mind, and it's a small but welcome reprieve from the rising levels of AI slop we're all forced to deal with. These channels are some of my favorite channels on the website. They are the truest, most beautiful expressions of what made YouTube worthwhile back in the day. So join me as we explore the wonderful world of Smalltubers, who I define as YouTubers with less than 100,000 subscribers at time of recording. And if any of the channels we review here today spark your interest, you should definitely go check them out and consider supporting them on their respective Patreons and membership programs. And while we're here, I also have a Patreon, so just something to keep in mind.
Not long ago, this was me. I worked in one of these big old buildings. I would spend my days staring out the window, waiting for a time I could go out and get something that could break the monotony. That was when I knew something had to change. I think I'll live in the back of a van. And so, I bought a van, and I live in the back of it. And now, I'm free.
Wheelie Yellow is the smallest van life YouTuber, a little puppet vlogging out of a little van and going on big adventures. These videos are simple. Wheelie Yellow introduces himself at the top of the episode and introduces the loose premise, whether it be where he's driving, what he's driving for, or just what he's been thinking lately, and then we see his little car hilariously zip around corners for several minutes. Wheelie Yellow is extremely consistent and simple, and while this consistency and simplicity may leave it somewhat predictable, These excursions are so short that the repetition is actually fairly rewarding. These are wholesome little outings where we get to check in with our favorite little guy while watching his tiny van go at hilarious speeds. It's hard to describe, but the juxtaposition of cutting between Wheelie Yellow giving a "life is like a box of chocolates"-esque speech and his little van zipping around and constantly flipping and crashing cracks me up every time. But speaking of his chocolate box reminiscent sermons, Wheelie Yellow himself is a big draw for me. Something about this little guy is just so darn reassuring. His laid-back attitude, his down-to-earth advice, and his silly little eccentricities all make him a joy to watch.
The trouble with quitting your job is how little that job then pays you. You join me on a crisp and chilly December morning. It's nearly Christmas. Or, if you're American, nearly the 4th of July.
The whole series is very homely, and in its own way it makes me feel like a kid again. The low camera angles and the scale of Wheelie Yellow and his van put the world in a new perspective. Everything seems just a little more wondrous. Some of these shots are almost like something out of an old picture book. Wheelie Yellow comes across like a character from such books, but he relates to us as people much more than that, as in the story of his videos we're told he used to work in an office before quitting his job. There's something to that. A character right out of a children's book found himself living in capitalist society, and he decided to break free. It feels sort of like a revival of that wonder in a way. If you're looking to take just a few minutes to relax and experience a bit of whimsy while supporting handcrafted art, Wheelie Yellow might be the channel for you.
Sometimes the anticipation of a gift can be much better than the gift itself. So the next time you find yourself looking forward to something, take a moment to appreciate that feeling of anticipation. Because once the thing's happened, there's no more anticipation to anticipate.
Slip Slap. I'm Slappy Pat, your cosmic tour guide into the obscure and abandoned corners of the internet, where we seek out buried treasure with a critical but appreciative eye and discover just what made it so important.
I feel like I have got to include Slappy Pat and their series Internet Buried Treasure in this. The concept of his channel is to dig into old, niche, forgotten corners of the internet and reassess them after all of this time has passed in an attempt to find, well, internet buried treasure. It's essentially a channel dedicated to what I'm doing right now, finding and defining value in obscure internet content. I feel like we've reached an interesting point in the history of YouTube that channels like this can exist, that the history of content creation and internet discourse is vast and broad enough to warrant this sort of discussion. Few people do it like Slappy Pat. His ability to speak about internet media so seriously and so thoroughly while still staying in his lane and being the right amount of casual is to be commended. Not to mention, he is a masterful storyteller. Internet content, at least classic indie internet content, is very personal. How and when we encounter that content is such an important part in how we find value in that work of art, and Slappy here is masterful in how he explains his experiences. Editing and presentation are important for any good YouTube video, but the text of a video, whether literally from the script or from the heart, might be the most important thing of all. Slappy's storytelling is important to his channel's success. It's hilariously melodramatic, painfully touching and relatable, and always sincere. He doesn't just tell you what's good or bad about a video, he takes you on a journey. The goal of the series may be to analyze hidden gems, or in this case buried treasures, but Slappy Pat remembers that the best part of buried treasure isn't the buried treasure itself, but the treasure hunt, the journey you go on to find that treasure. His videos are extremely silly and light, but also extremely earnest and passionate. He's someone who asks more of the internet because he believes so strongly that the internet can be more, and that belief is the pathos that drives his channel, and it's a pathos that I, and probably many of you, would find relatable.
If you ask me, I just think it's a lot more fun, more rewarding, and more worthwhile to put some thought into understanding the world around you. We have more than enough low-effort AI-generated slop. and bots who repost videos and comments from years ago to farm karma and sell accounts, and rage baits designed to farm engagement, and big channels reacting to stealing genuinely thought-provoking and artistic content from unknown or lesser subscribed creators. Do you really want to add more uninteresting, repetitive garbage that doesn't stand out in any way to this whole dumpster fire when you can just like be a little more discerning with what you post and engage with? And yeah, guys, I am really fun at parties. You're bad people for shitposting. I'm the good guy here. Me. I'm the one with the YouTube channel.
So that's when it all started, the moment my brain was poisoned with lies. We've all heard them as a kid. Playground rumors. All I have to say is Mewtwo truck, and you know exactly what I mean.
Dude, it's like GTA 3, but for the DS. The graphics are insane, there's a lot of blood, guts, and you can shoot in first person, and you have to load your gun with the touchscreen, dragging it onto the clip with the gun, and when you drive, you hold the DS on its side, and you steer with the touchscreen with your hand like you're a real gangster.
Nyanweez, or Nyanweez as they said, is a gaming commentary YouTuber with a delightfully stylized and cutely animated persona. Their mission statement is to get justice for games that don't get enough love, and they do a fairly good job at this. There isn't too much to say about Nyanweez that isn't expressed through the footage you're seeing. They're fairly informative and provide an interesting perspective on retro gaming, and if you're a big gamer, there's probably a lot to love about this channel. Their side show, Graveyard Gaming, really reminds me of something from the mid-2010s of YouTube, a structured show that breaks down different defunct gaming franchises with interesting trivia and lore, without devolving into a 4-hour essay about the Industrial Revolution or whatever. What else is there to say? If you're into gaming and you find Nyan's avatar as cute and charming as it is, then there's probably something in this channel for you.
I'm watching all of One Piece for the first time and reviewing every episode. Episode 258.
If you know Galvanium TV, it's probably from their watching and reviewing every episode of One Piece series, where they essentially watch every single episode of One Piece for the first time and individually review every single episode on its own. Yes, even the filler episodes, movies, OVAs, and Japan-exclusive specials. I personally watched their whole series, and it's such a unique and fascinating experience. Many reactors skip over the filler or settle with sharing their hype for the canon episodes, while reviewers of One Piece tend to review the series in bulk only after being a fan for a while. Galvanium TV's One Piece coverage is far more granular. We get to watch them become a fan in real time. Personally, I just admire the diligence. Everyone knows a lot of One Piece filler is kind of crap, but this is the first person I've seen really dissect and articulate why it's crappy, or why it's great, or why there are redeeming qualities to it. Their research into when these episodes were released and in what order and how they relate to the movies and specials also gives them a perspective unlike any other. It's like a peek into what a Japanese child who grew up with One Piece from the first episode might have experienced. I mean, if that Japanese child was actually a grown adult watching 2 or 3 episodes a day instead of 1 a week. Now that they're all caught up with One Piece, they're making other cool One Piece content, like trivia and other cool things like trying and ranking every Straw Hat's preferred eggs. And hey, they don't just do One Piece content, they also did some other video essays in the past that are also really good. So, if you want to essentially read someone's diary detailing their journey from a One Piece newbie into a One Piece production lorekeeper while getting some of the most well-articulated reviews of the little and forgotten moments of the show, or if you just want to listen to some good essays and commentary, this might be the channel for you.
The subject for today is pronouns. So what you say we have a couple of go-rounds?
Maybe it'd be wrong to call Alpine Showtime a YouTuber. They're a streamer, but with a VTuber avatar that is just... I mean, look at them! They're putting me and the rest of us mere mortals to shame! Look at this! The pencil moves as they draw! What? I mean, what can I really add here? This is one of the most beautiful VTuber setups I've ever laid my eyes on. Now, they aren't just a VTuber, they also make animated shorts which are heart-wrenchingly good in their own right. The spot-on stop-motion aesthetic, the music, and the cinematography all lend themselves so much to the joy, the whimsy, and the gut-wrenching sadness being expressed in these little animations. Obviously, nostalgia is a big part of their aesthetic. An old definition of nostalgia is the pain of returning. Nostalgia is often used as an escape, but Alpine Show, when they want to, explores the painful part of nostalgia, where the simpler times are lost, and that sinking feeling that our latest simple times won't last. And the nostalgic aesthetic drives these little mournful moments home. The shorts where they explore this theme are sad, but not in a defeatist way. It's an acknowledgement of the hurt, which can be pretty healthy in its own ways. Oh, and they also play Doom. Watch them and their little friend run around shooting demons. Look at them go!
We have this whole world we can explore, shoot around, destroy. You know, all here in Doom. Sometimes you even want to relax. So, why not? Yeah, that's a thing we could do.
I don't know, get you a them that can do both, am I right? I don't know why I even bothered trying to sell them to you. Just look at them! Look at how good this looks! Look at the artistry on display here! Go! Go watch them! Subscribe to them now! Do it
Welcome back, all you ballers, to another episode of Video Game World Tours.
I can only describe Pretzel as a video game vibes channel that explores obscure and atmospheric places in video games, or takes a chilled and laid-back approach to character and story analysis. As they say in their channel bio, they are focusing on emotion. It's very chill and serene with an early 2000s VHS aesthetic. The channel's series like Video Game World Tours and their Weird Spots In series are the most indicative of the channel's pathos, taking some time to chill out and enjoy various spaces and retro video games. And some new ones. I think Pretzel's content is great because of how specific the vibes are. His dulcet tones deliver monologues that are simply put but well said, with editing, pacing, and music choices that sell their specific vibes. I especially like when he finishes speaking about an area and then does these loading screen-esque collages that let you bask in the scene's atmosphere before moving on. Have you ever had a good experience in a waiting room? As a child, there have been some times while waiting to see a dentist that I found myself lost playing Sonic Heroes, browsing peacefully through their books, or staring with fascination into a fish tank and imagining myself swimming around in it like a video game character. If you have any of these positive experiences with waiting rooms, then this may be the appeal of Pretzel. There's a certain zen-like quality to simply sitting in and appreciating a particular space. Many YouTubers fill a certain space. Some of them are good to watch while eating lunch, others are good to listen to while folding laundry, others are good to watch in bed while it's raining, and some are great for giving devoted attention and then chewing on the experience like a real piece of art. In that sense, I think the specific place in my life that Pretzel holds is liminal. It is a space between spaces, a sort of pleasant waiting room. I couldn't possibly tell you what that means other than that when I have time to kill, or I want to feel what it's like to actually stop everything I'm doing, or I just want to forget about time for a while, I tend to turn to Pretzel. If you love scenery in video games and you love catching a chill vibe, Pretzel is here for you.
This game's world truly is an enigma. That's what I love about it. On the face of it, you're just supposed to pay attention to the courses you're traversing through. But all these funky backgrounds are the set dressing. They set the vibe for the game. Theoretically, this whole environment could be a white void and the game would still play the same. But so much of the charm would be gone. Part of the fun of this game is being baffled at the details they put into these backgrounds. And the second game, well, I'll just say it takes it up a notch. But that's for another video.
To further learn about this entity's body, we will place Golbo into an X-ray machine. In prior research, we learned that Golbo has about the same radioactivity as a banana. Golbo possesses no bones.
Quiet J is an artist and animator best known for their Zoo Liminology series, which is a complete genre bender. Analog horror? Nah buddy, this is analog wholesome. These are gorgeously illustrated animations that explore the far planes, an area outside of standard reality that is host to all sorts of extraplanar entities. It's essentially the Backrooms, an entire dimension of liminal spaces from abandoned schools, vast brutalist structures, and even gardens and greenhouses. The concept of the series is that these are instructional tapes sent to a new recruit of the Zooluminology research team. This series asks all the right questions. What if the Backrooms were actually beautiful in their own way? What if the anomalous entities of the Backrooms were not only completely harmless, but also silly little fellas? What would happen if we approached Analog Horror's creature encounter instructional tape trope and replaced it with Animal Planet? What if the SCP Foundation was only a little more than a dozen people with a budget so small that 5 cinder blocks put a financial strain on their organization? This series is a hilarious inversion of analog horror and unfiction tropes. The scale is gigantic, but the stakes could scarcely be smaller. Comedy isn't the only appeal of the series, though. The extraplanar entities are actually fascinating creatures. Learning about their anatomy, biology, and behaviors are genuinely engaging, and while they're often silly, they're sometimes breathtakingly beautiful. The Prince, for instance, is a creature made entirely of tempered glass, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch in motion. It's inspired by Prince Rupert's drop, with an indestructible body aside from its tail. It's beautiful, it's majestic, it's intriguing, and it's mind-boggling. And when its tail is struck and it shatters, well, you can watch the video for yourself to find out what happens when it shatters. Zooluminology is essentially a nature documentary about otherworldly creatures, but it's more than that. It's an exploration of a wonderland, taking the creepy world of liminal spaces and illustrating the beauty and whimsy to be found in them. The gorgeous hand-drawn art mixed with the completely original soundtrack, I don't know how else to put it, but some of the shots from the series remind me of certain Wii and DS games, when the gameplay would give way to moments of quiet contemplation and melancholic wonder. Beautiful art, absolutely jamming original music, brilliant writing, and captivating speculative science. Go check out Quiet J and their Zooluminology series if any of these things sound interesting to you. And if this doesn't sound interesting to you, what happened to you? Are you okay?
After further observation, we have added yet another cinder block. We cannot add any more, as it will strain the Zooluminology project's budget. After more observation, we have decided to add a cement sphere from Target that was obtained in a classified manner. The enclosure is now adequate for the entity.
Alright, before we finish up here, I thought I'd just rapid fire some more suggestions your way. I Like Ducks makes gorgeous Mario fan animations and other forms of Mario art. If you're a fan of Mario and gorgeous 3D animation, you should definitely give them a try. J&V SCP is an SCP reading channel run by Jeffiat and his friend V. They read out SCP articles and other SCP literature and then partake in interesting and casual discussions about them, all wrapped in this gorgeous 90s OS aesthetic. I might talk about this channel more at a later date. Moon-Eyed Azzy, I think is how you pronounce the name, is an animation channel. Ah, look at the animations. Ooh, ah, they're so cute, they're so well done. Wow. Now, I originally had a different outro recorded for this, but between recording audio for this video and editing it together, some of the YouTubers I mentioned here today have had some updates. Some of them, like Wheelie Yellow, gained 7,000 subscribers in the few days I've been editing, and has now passed 100,000 subs. But I've still included them in the video because, as I said, we're going by time of recording here. All the same, congrats to you, Wheelie. More importantly, though, we need to talk about Quiet J, who announced that at the time of editing this, that they are taking a step back from Zooluminology due to extraneous circumstances. I thought it'd be prudent to address this specifically because I was so heavily pushing Zooluminology, and it's my favorite thing I've talked about here today. So, please, don't pressure them to make more just now. Just watch what they've already posted and consider catching some of their live streams. I think this is a good time to stop and talk about why exactly I'm doing this video, and the answer is because I want to do something, anything, to support these small, talented artists in any way I can. And I would hate to accidentally put pressure on any of these creators during times of strife. These days, with AI slop running rampant on YouTube, handcrafted videos made by small artists are truly gold. But while it's easy to appreciate handcrafted art, it's just as easy to forget about the hands that crafted them. A lot of small content creators juggle content creation with their day jobs or going to school, or sometimes doing both of those things on top of countless other responsibilities, and life isn't always kind enough to leave us with enough time and energy to work on the things we really care about. Quality content, or art as we used to call it, takes real time and energy. As someone who balances a full-time dishwashing job with content creation and is trying to actually hit it off this year, trust me, I don't even want to think about the vitamins and energy drinks I've been taking to keep going. And a lot of small creators probably have even more problems to deal with than I do. If anyone is taking a break or posting infrequently, trust me, they have their reasons. So please, if you go and watch any of the creators I've shared here today, have patience and don't rush them, and if you think their content is cringe, just keep it to yourself. I promise you, just walking away from a video you don't like won't cost you a cent. There is a whole universe of small YouTube channels run by free-spirited, passionate content creators. Money is tight, and it feels like it's impossible to do things that are just for us these days, and yet they try. Their creative ambitions drive them to action, in spite of how scary and overwhelming everything is. Smalltubers are some of the best content creators on the website, whether they're genre be arts and crafts, commentary, video essays, or animation, because their creative visions are so strongly their own. They make what they love to make, because we, their audience, choose to support it. The lifeblood of these channels is audience support. So please, if any of these channels sound like something you'd like, go give them a try, and if you like it, give their video a like. Maybe you can spare them $1 to their Patreon, YouTube membership, or Ko-Fi, Ko-Fi, I don't know. Or if you can't afford that, word of mouth always helps. Tell your friends, tell your family, let the world know about how awesome these creators are, and most importantly, if you can't do anything else, let these awesome creators know how awesome they are. Feedback can really keep us going a long way, and I promise it's not a praise kink. As always, thank you for listening to my lecture, and remember, the smaller a YouTube channel subscriber count, the more of your hard-earned money you should shovel towards them.
'Cause we spent the whole day walking on a weary feet.
Thanks for watching this episode of Professor Preston. If you'd like to see more, I am making another video every month this year. As you may have picked up on, I do have a Patreon, and on my Patreon, I upload slightly extended versions of these episodes. For instance, this episode, the Patreon version, I cover 2 extra small YouTubers. Also, if you stay tuned, during the end screen, there's going to be a playlist full of videos from the YouTubers I mentioned here. Like I said, I'm going to be making a new episode of Professor Preston every month, but I'm also putting out a lot of shorts and comics and other cool content, so if you'd like to see more of that, please subscribe. Again, thank you for watching this episode of Professor Preston, and I will see you in the next one.